Hi everyone, a very warm welcome. We have today Professor Raghuvir Singh, the Vice-Chancellor of Teerthanker Mahaveer University. Let's hear it from Raghuvir sir about his profile. Sir, may I have a bit on your profile, please?
Hi Bharat, Professor Raghuvir Singh this side, Vice-Chancellor of Teerthanker Mahaveer University, Moradabad. I'm a postgraduate in management from Mumbai University, Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management, and a PhD from University of Rajasthan, Jaipur. I have been fortunate to be associated with a number of institutions across India. Some of them are I was heading business school of Manipal University, Jaipur, JK Business School at Gurgaon, Indian Society for Technical Education, Delhi, and I was been HOD management at BITS Pilani.
Wow.
And I also served as a director of the Gurgaon campus for University of Petroleum and Energy Studies. My interest areas are strategic management, education, and developing my colleagues and faculty members. That's what interests me most.
Wow, sir, that's a great profile. You have held many key positions into the educational institute in the education sector. That's a very great thing. So, may I know that throughout your profile, since you have been at the key positions, what are the key factors that keep you connected with this sector?
Most interesting thing is you're always among the youth. You learn plenty of things from youth. Let's accept the truth that the youth is much better tech savvy than anybody else. And it actually propels me to, emulate them in terms, when I see them using technology at such an age, I'm also tempted to follow them. So I've been lucky to keep pace with technology, having been always with the youth. And you always learn from the youth. I think myself quite fortunate, having learned from my colleagues and students. Because, making mistakes is the best teacher to anybody. So I've been learning through my own mistakes. And more than that, the mistakes of my subordinates and the students. So learning has been much more multiplying because of I've been with the youth.
I understand, because that's a great thing that you're indulging with the youth. You get to learn, because learning is a lifelong process, and I do agree with that. Plus, actually, mistakes are always an addition in the experience. The more mistakes you make, the better you learn.
Now, if you don't make mistakes, means you are not doing anything.
Right, exactly, sir. So, being the VC of the Teerthanker Mahaveer University, how do you strategize about the key programs and plans for marketing and administration of the school of the university?
Let's face it squarely that today's world of education is much different than what it was 15 to 20 years back. Private universities or institutions are in a tough situation, a very competitive market from 2 points. One, if you look at the pricing of government institutions, you will find people have a reason to go to them, because the price is a big value add for them. Then you have a large number of private institutions to tap to the market. Right. So when you look at another aspect where you find today's modern students or youth, most of them are hooked to the technology, to the various platforms. I mean, rather than seeing or reading newspapers, today they would rather be looking into their mobiles and mobile apps and whoever can reach to their box, the small box mobile, they would rather like to get information there. So we understand as an individual that our target market is always there. So whatever possible rechurning of our strategy has been a mix of the two, traditional media plus the digital media.
It's a great thing, sir, because as you rightly said that 15-20 years ago the medium was through newspapers, through books and all. Now the students are more or less learning even from their mobile devices, and that's something which if we need to let inform them that okay, here with the increase in number of private universities, again the level of education has deteriorated at some places. It's even going up due to the competition. It's very basic for an individual to know which college to go to have a better education, and that's a great thing to reach out at them and letting them know at that very particular point, okay students, okay, we are here for you, right? The education system, as we rightly discussed, it is very different within India and the foreign countries, and with the globalization of the markets. Because this is something, if a student who is studying in India, he'll face different challenges in the global market. So what will an inbound student gain from studying in the Teerthanker Mahaveer University?
Bharat, let me tell you, we have launched a very unique project at our end. Though we are at a nascent stage, but I'm sure within next 6 months, 12 months, this will mature and would be highly beneficial to all students. We call it project skilling, right? So my entire team of faculty and principals have been working on it for last 6 months. Rather than having off-the-shelf degree, you mean that you have a fixed courses in a degree, a student comes, passes it, takes the degree and go to the market and then try to find the job. We are doing it other way around. We are flipping the degree. That is, we are looking at the market, trying to find out for a given degree what are possible profiles, right? And for each profile, what skills are needed. Okay, and then for that particular profile, numerous skills which are needed have been defined and put in a flowchart. For each degree, each skill, we are given a number, reference number. And then we're sequencing those skills in semester-wise. Suppose a student, let's take an example of somebody who wants to be a data scientist. Now, in data scientists, there are different profiles. Somebody wants to be an analyst, right? Somebody wants to be machine learning or artificial intelligence, data warehousing, data mining. There are 4 or 5 profiles. So under each, say, let's talk about data analysis. We have defined specific skills to be a data analyst. Now, for each skill, let's take about using R, or he wants to be using SPS or whatever. There are a number of tools in that. So for each of that, we have actually in detailed, in a flowchart, put that skill so that a student goes through that, faculty goes through that, and then it is made sure that by the time he or she passes out, he or she has at least 3 profiles chosen for his interest. It's not what we want to do it. It's student's interest and what is required in the market and what we can deliver. All the 3 are matched. And then you will find our students are job ready or market ready or employability ready, whatever you call it. So the basic underlining our Honorable Chancellor, Mr. Suresh Jainji, said that we want all our students going from the university with an high employability index. That's the underlining.
That's a very great thing. Apart from studies, we always need the skills to survive in the market, and that's a great thing. That once a student has completed their education with TMU, Teerthanker Mahaveer University, they will find that apart from the learnings they had in book, they have also been provided with the skills which they will actually need in the job.
I'll also further add to it. We are less dependent on knowledge. See, today, if I look at, knowledge is available everywhere.
Right.
So, as a teacher, if I'm there to provide, I'm irrelevant. What's my role there? So, I got to be an integrator. So to do that, we have actually implemented from this session onwards outcome-based education. For every program, outcomes are determined. At the end of the program, what skills and understanding is the student would have had. For each course, there are outcomes defined. Now, to teach, coming back to those skills, which are there in our outcomes, we will be using what we call as immersion technology. That is your, augmented reality, AR, virtual reality, VR, and mixed reality, VR, both in the form of wearables or handheld devices. We are already started identifying them, and you will find that within a year's time, our students will start using that technology to learn those particular skills.
That's a great thing for the students to learn the skills of future, because once a student is invested, he or she has invested in the university, they are investing their 4 years. It's not a matter of 6 months or a year that most of the things will remain.
No, they are investing their whole career in our hands.
Yeah.
They are putting the entire thing in our hands. So therefore, it's our responsibility to assure that they get more than what they expect from us.
Right. So I think these apart from making the students future ready, what are TMU's priority over next 10 years?
See, our priority next 10 years is give holistic education to the students. Holistic education. It is, see, like, if you try to understand the word called education, the meaning of education is from a Latin word called educare. That means bring from inside. Now, what is inside is the potential. Now, potential of a person cannot be brought unless otherwise you have a holistic approach to the individual. That means holistic approach, when I say there a human mind, or you and me, we both have a mind, soul, and body. The way our degrees are structured, they in fact use a very small part of our mind. That is knowledge part, very small part. That is a lower level of thinking, not even higher order thinking also. So we hardly use other aspect. So that is, whole person is not developed. So we are putting together the holistic education, which comprises 3 important domains, and all these which we are going to use is going to use all those frameworks, tools, and techniques which have been in fact proved by numerous educationists known all over the world. So in 1956, Bloom said about this holistic education, he said 3 important domains of learning. He didn't say about teaching. Learning is cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. Cognitive domain is about your thinking, that is intellectual abilities, both higher order as well as lower order. Higher order you cannot develop unless otherwise you have a lower order. That is, understanding नहीं है तो आप बाकी applying, evaluating and creating cannot be done. Second important aspect is a soul, जिसको हम heart बोलते हैं. That is affective domain, and that falls under the category of soft skills. In our university, we have created one full department with at 18 faculty members along with the director who takes care of soft skills of all around 14,000 students. You can imagine every program has at least 3 courses on soft skills. And we have used that approach of developing skills, not just letting them know. And its results we are seeing when our students, in fact, get selected in, across various companies. And the students come back and say, sir, this has been a sea change. So we have successfully been able to implement, soft skills in our university. So, and third dimension, as you said, we are already working. That is psychomotor skills. So you'll find that holistic education would come to the university in next 2 years fully. It cannot be done at one go. It's in components. Last year we put in cognitive. This year we put in affective, that is soft skills. And next year we're going to put our psychomotors. And from there you'll find the sea change the way education is delivered in Teerthanker Mahaveer University.
That's a great thing, sir, because what I have also experienced, what most of the people, after coming out of the universities, they experience is that apart from the learning, there's the soft skills are always the important part of the basic communication, be it basic daily routine activities. And if that is developed in a particular university, that's a great thing, because that becomes the character of that particular student, and then he or she they make a good basically being a good citizen. Then that's a very great thing.
Yeah, true.
So, sir, when you first came to Teerthanker Mahaveer University, what was your vision for the university? And because the vision can be long term and short term, what are the short term visions? Has it evolved, and how far along are you in implementing that?
See, the vision is always long term. Your goals could be short term and long term. I always looked at my perspective was when a person gets educated, right? He should be a good citizen. A good citizen come out. I tell you, one of the greatest scientists called Einstein. He said, if you give a super specialization to an individual, whoever it is, you will be creating robots who are of no use to the society. Right? So, taking a cue from there, I realized that giving a super specialized knowledge in a one particular domain is not going to be much use to the student as well as to the university. I, in fact, realized this aspect and started bringing it into the university before our NEP 2020 came in. That is, we talk about a T-shaped people or a T-shaped employees. What does actually that mean? T-shaped means you got to have your people who have a deep knowledge in a given domain, but also have equally strong knowledge and skills in other areas. Right? Should be ability to deal with people is a very, very strong skill required. Ability to look at related and unrelated area. So we have already brought in what we call is a multi-discipline approach to our education. The new syllabus which we actually brought in 2020 July session already have this multi-dimensions, right? Now, when I say this T-shaped people, why it is required? Today, when you have a student coming to you, whether he comes for a PhD or a master's degree or anything else, they all come for a degree. The purpose of education is not to earn this degree. The purpose of education is to solve the societal problems. So my next, once I implement this, my next ambition for the university would be to have bespoke programs. Bespoke program means trying to develop a learning program according to the needs of the corporate and needs of the individual's interest, and which specifically fits into the problem-oriented degrees, problem solution-oriented degrees. I'll just give one of the students, a couple of months back, came to me and said that, "Hey sir, I want to do a program in biophysical sciences, my PhD in biophysical sciences." I said, "Why you want to do it?" He said, "I want to solve the problem of hearing impaired people. So to do that, I would need to understand physics, propagation of sound. I need to understand chemistry, the fluid mechanism. I need to understand anatomy in the structure of the ear. I need to understand technology to help develop the device." Now that is an approach to education. Today, if I want to make, so what are you trying to do today in the society? We are creating silos. Civil engineer, electrical engineer, physicist, economist, this and that. That means to solve one problem, you want to bring 4 or 5 people together. So you want to solve environmental problems, for example. You want to become an environmental scientist or you want to solve an environmental problem. You need to understand environment, need to understand chemistry, need to understand economics, needs to understand management. Unless you understand, you cannot solve the problem. You might have a knowledge of environment, but you can't solve the problem. Likewise, there are a number of problems in the world which requires multi-dimensional understanding. So if we continue to have these silos of our degrees, we will never be able to have students coming out from universities who will solve the problems. That's my next thinking.
As sir rightly said, because what we have been doing throughout this educational, for like 20 years, what I know of, is that we are creating different people for each person is mastered for a different domain, and
very narrowly.
They won't be. It will always be, because a person who knows everything, a jack of all trades, which we say, is the one who will be better person to lead, because he knows every aspect. He is knowledgeable he is knowledgeable enough to know every aspect of a particular solution, of a particular problem, and then bringing out the right solution. That's a very great thing. That's a very great thing for the students, because they can look at themselves and say, yes, I'll be a leader in future.
Yeah. For example, if you ask a student who's done, for example, masters in economics, and ask you what you can do, unfortunately, he's unable to answer that.
Yeah.
Or for that matter, anybody. That's the sad state of affairs of our education. We are not moved to that, basic, fundamental, rote learning.
It's basically, as you rightly said, that if you ask someone, what can you do? They can't tell you anything. But if you come up with a particular problem, can you do this? Out of 10, they can say at 4, yes, I can do this, but they didn't know in the back of their mind. That's the part of knowledge, because that's the part where I think they should have this developed, that I can do anything if I am given a solution, I am given a problem. So I would like to ask you that, because most of the people are searching, most of the students are searching for colleges. and may I know that what would you like to people to know about Teerthanker Mahaveer University that they generally might not?
Yes, you are right. One of the whatever basic things you want, everything is here. That you don't have to see it in. I mean, like the fantastic campus spread across 150 acres, fantastic infrastructure, dot on the highway, to finest faculty members, dedicated, all that is there. Now, what you have to look in it when you think of Teerthanker Mahaveer University is how education is delivered. We are talking about education, not a degree. How education is delivered. You should come, see, feel, go onto our website, find there are more than 800 courses whose study material, outcomes, program outcomes, everything is mentioned. We are so open. Right? You want to see that what at the end of a BBA program would I have learned, what skills I have learned. You can go to our website, right? See there the outcomes of BBA. You want to go further, then go to the courses. For each course, what are the outcomes are expected? We are aligned in terms of our education to the outcomes. Our teaching methodology is according to the outcomes. So if the outcome says of developing a skill, we don't teach a student. We make him to do things. Whether he does a field project or he does a classroom activity, that means rather than having those lesson plans, I have asked my faculty to develop learning plans. Learning plan can happen inside the classroom as well as outside the classroom. So we bring rigor to the students through engagement, not through loading of the content. I don't believe in loading of the content. I believe in engaging the students. And then you will find that whatever I spoke, how do you do with the students? We make students to do that. Fundamentally, if you look at why a student comes to the college, you have to find out, not for the degree alone or not for that knowledge. Knowledge is available to him, as I mentioned earlier. He comes to the college to get confidence. Confident to speak, confident to stand, confidence to interact, and confidence to do things. Now, that cannot happen unless a student is made to do things in the classroom or outside the classroom. He comes here to the college for the purpose of developing network with not only his own classmate, but as a university, you have here 20 different types of departments. You will interact with them. And the alumni. We have a strong alumni base who keep coming to interact with our students. Then a student comes here to learn how to deal with realities of life. Life is not going to be a simple, straight, jacketed life. Life will have multiple aspects. So you come across, when you deal with such a large organization, you will come out different kinds of issues and problems, and then you are exposed to different people from different region, people from different religion, people of different gender, different languages. So you appreciate, as India as a whole, within one particular place. And you come here to learn the technology. This is most important for the youth. You are exposed to the technology. You may not be exposed at home to the technology, but in the classroom, smart boards, all kinds of softwares, research softwares, and online journals, online books, and online databases. So you learn in the college, in the university, how to use and what kind of technologies are available. And this we help to do students through numerous activities like When I try to implement my curriculum, I have four distinct activities. One is curriculum activities. That means the way we teach and what we teach. Second is co-curricular activities. Large number of activities which the university organizes for the students, developing their confidence and ability to deal with others. Number of them, right? Then extracurricular activities are must for students. Extracurricular activities are those activities which the student engages himself outside the college hours. He might engage himself with an NGO. He might do it activity in a village or in his own neighborhood. So he gets connected with the society outside. He learns from the society. He sees societal problems. He feels connected with the humanity. And then last is extramural, that is your physical activities. Every year we hold, program within the program competitions, sports, huge amount of sports facilities available in the university. Within colleges, between colleges, and inter-university, all kinds of programs are conducted in the university. So these three activities help us to achieve our what we call holistic education objectives.
That's a good thing, sir, that the students have to, because the students generally don't know that they have to look at the holistic development. That's a good thing that university is bringing them, or introducing them to these facilities, and then when they get indulged in that, there's a holistic development going on,
which they are not
aware of, but yes, it helps them in future.
True.
So may I ask what are some of the biggest challenges you have seen and you see for both higher education in general as in India and specifically for Teerthanker Mahaveer University?
See, when I look at my own university, its biggest challenge is the mindset. People, generally, it is a human tendency, would love to do what they have been doing. And change is always resisted. But when you reason out with them, when you, convince them why it is important what we are doing, both for the students and society, and above all, for the self. See, when you learn new techniques, new ways of doing things, or rethinking education in a different context, you yourself, learn, you yourself develop, your value gets enhanced. Whether you stay with me or not, doesn't matter. I'm creating a value for the country. Wherever he or she goes, he can always talk about, this is what I learned in Teerthanker Mahaveer University. That's the only credit which we want from him. Yes, they have to do an extra work. See, the problem with most of us as an educationist has been, we love to deliver lecture. That is telling, and student listens. There are no techniques in the world which can be only be beneficial for education. No. Telling is important when you want to disseminate information among large audience. That is where the lecturing comes. In today's context where knowledge is available on the public domain, my lecturing is futile, is irrelevant. So I will look for different methods to make them learn and do. Right? So that last at least 1.5 years has been so fruitful to us to realize that lecturing is not good enough for us. So therefore, our learning plan has to involve many other tools like flipping the classroom, project-based learning, inquiry-based learning. So this couple of new techniques of learning are being introduced in the system. And when I come to the Indian education scenario, two important things are driving our education. One is marks, another is a pursuit for degree. And for that matter, I don't blame to the parents and the students, because when you look at education, the way people get selected in colleges, professional colleges or otherwise also the important colleges, the marks is the basis. When you want to go to the government jobs, marks is the basis. So there is no alternative to it as of now. So this decision has to be taken from the government, that what is alternative to this way of evaluating people. So if you make marks a criteria for earning a spot in a good college, jobs, the school, the college, everyone will try to do the same thing. Students will also do the same thing. So the rote learning goes on. So somewhere it has to be stopped. So in the new education policy, government has realized it, and they are trying to bring a holistic education. But I don't know, unless otherwise it is changed down the line, these aims would remain quite lofty. It will be very difficult to realize. So ultimately, I want to say, the way we deliver education, the way we think about education has to undergo a sea change, right from top to the bottom levels.
Rightly said, sir, because what I have experienced is that the best learning which happens is generally through communication instead of a monologue. And that's generally happening. You rightly said that we are more into telling things. We are more into, it's more of a storytelling from the teacher and then to the student. It's generally a monologue which actually becomes a problem, which is actually a problem for the society. Education.
It's called a transfer of knowledge or task receiver system.
Right.
Task receiver system. That means you transmit to the students receive, and through the annual examination system, you check its fidelity, how well he has received. That is how Einstein defined education, in fact. He's so beautifully said that education is what is left behind with you after you have forgotten everything you wrote in an examination.
Right.
That's the education. And what we are actually left behind is what we did during our school or college time. That is all activities.
What we are left behind is the activities. Basically, those were interactive activities.
Those activities.
The theoretical part is just missed out.
No, it is all forgotten. It has a shelf life of not more than 3 to 4 months.
Yes.
I have seen my students when we interview them for a postgraduate level. When you ask what all the courses did you do in your final semester, they are not able to tell you even the names of those courses. There are some of the students like that.
Sir, may I know how do you tend to establish a healthy relationship and an environment in Teerthanker Mahaveer University?
So that's only two ways. One is the dialogue, and another is engagement. This should be always, and that's the responsibility of the leader to have healthy relationships. I call it, creating enabling culture and high performance culture. That means your faculty, your students are willing to contribute, are willing to learn, and willing to engage. Now, if that happens, you will always have a healthy relationship among the faculty and the students.
That's actually very nice, sir, because without that, there will be a relationship between the teachers and the student, but it will always miss out at some point. They won't be very comfortable connecting with them. And if the students are not
That's true.
comfortable connecting, I think it's basically a waste, because again, pointing it out that what a student wants to learn from the university is the confidence, because knowledge is available everywhere, I think.
You are right.
So, may I know, are there any suggestions you would like to give the current youth, the students who are aspiring to join the colleges soon?
See, I normally, when I talk to my students, I say, you may be talented or you may not be talented. Doesn't matter. There are two important things in life. One, talent multiplied by effort leads to a skill. Even if you are highly talented and if you don't put in efforts, you will not have a skill developed. And if you don't practice your skill, you will never succeed. So you can balance your equation. If you are lowly talented, and if you come from a background which is not, as good as someone coming from, top of the schools and coming from, better towns, doesn't matter. You put in that massive effort so that you develop an equivalent skill. And when you have developed a skill, master that through practice, and you will succeed. And when you do all that, you will always find yourself many obstacles, many hurdles, pitfalls happening in your way of life. The two things you must remember is continue on that path, that is perseverance, and never quit. So if you persevere, continue your efforts on a long cherished goal of yours, none can stop you from succeeding in that particular field. Hello, Bharat.
I completely agree with that, sir, because if you lose the vision of your goal, the next point, the very next problem, you're going to fall out of that. You'll miss your goal. Instead, it is just something. Even if you fall down, just keep on. You always have to look at your goal. You always have to think about it. Okay, this is my goal. I'll never back down.
Yes, I always advise students, see, you should continue that, but also at the same time, should know when to quit. That is, when you fail, you're trying time and again, please go back, analyze what's that you are not doing well, correct it, and introduce those corrections. You will succeed. In spite of all that, if you have tried everything, you have consciously been using feedback, not trying, it's better to quit that and move on to the better things.
Yeah.
So I don't insist, whatever may be, continue doing that. No. When you fail, please learn from the failure, because your biggest teacher is a failure. Biggest teacher. Analyze why did you fail and make corrections. I think you would succeed much faster than otherwise.
Right, so that's a great guidance from your side. So it's been a pleasure talking with you. There has been multiple things I too got to learn from this, and I hope the students will get to know a bit more about the Teerthanker Mahaveer University, as well as some guiding points in life.
Thank you so much, Bharat. It's been a wonderful talking to you, and I hope that the students take leaf out of my talk.
I think that would be the key takeaway. There are multiple key takeaways, and the students will be very. I wish they take learnings out of it and then build a great career. thanks for your very precious time, sir. Thanks from
Pleasure, dear. Anytime.
Thanks from all
Yeah,
the
anytime. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, dear. Thank you.